I'm Marty Cohn, and welcome to episode 27 of PR Benefits, a show that explores the role of public relations in the COVID-19 era. I've been a PR practitioner for over 45 years, helping a wide array of organizations successfully communicate their messages to targeted audiences. I mistakenly thought that 9/11 would be the watershed event in my lifetime. Communicating in the aftermath of that tragic event was challenging. Then came the global economic downturn in 2008 with more lessons in crisis communications. However, 12 years later, we have the coronavirus pandemic with new challenges in uncharted waters emerging. My guest today is Liz Hersh, president of Hersh Public Relations in Brecksville, Ohio. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Liz. Liz is a graduate of the Ohio University Scripps School of Journalism. She earned her degree in journalism with a concentration in public relations. While at Ohio University, she had her first experience with agency life, serving as an account executive on the student-run PR firm Impressions, and that's IMPR-essions. In 2009, Liz founded Hersh PR and Marketing with the intent of helping small and medium-sized companies market themselves more effectively. Liz's expertise lies in identifying and solving marketing challenges that companies face every day. Welcome, Liz.
Hey, Marty, thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for taking the time to come on the show. So, one of the things that I do is when I have a guest on, I do a lot of Googling and try and find out about them and, to come up with the right thing to say. And what really intrigued me was, you started out in a student-run PR agency, but I guess, how did you get started? What made you think about public relations?
Yeah, when I went to college, I initially thought I was going to pursue pre-med, or I was a pre-med major. And you too, I love it. So I very quickly learned that that was not for me. I think after one quarter, I was like, you know what, I need to rethink this. So I spent the next 2 quarters, this was when Ohio University was still on the quarter system. I spent the next 2 quarters taking classes, exploring what was out there. I think winter quarter, I enrolled in a journalism 101 class, and then spring quarter, I took more or less an intro to PR. And I was like, you know what, this makes a lot of sense. Everything they were talking about really resonated. Everything, how they were talking about, how PR really supports business initiatives, and, whether it's in a nonprofit, for-profit, government relations. I mean, there's, many different directions you can go in, but yeah, everything that they were teaching just made a lot of sense. And I was like, you know what, this is probably where I need to be. So long story short, I took several more journalism classes and starting getting everything in order to ultimately transfer to the Scripps School of Journalism, which I did, and that's where I graduated from. So, yeah.
All right. Well, medicine's loss is PR's gain. That's great. And I too was when I first started out, I was on the medical school, but then I got caught up in politics, and the next thing you know, I was doing public relations, much to the chagrin of my family. They go, "What? You could have been a doctor."
Right.
But that was a long time ago.
That profession has its own new set of challenges. I like the challenges and the hurdles that I'm facing much more.
All right, so I'm going to take you a little bit back in time.
Yes.
I want you to think back to pre-COVID, so that's at least 8 months ago. What were some of the highlights of your pre-COVID-19 career?
Oh, well, it feels like another lifetime ago, but I do have one in particular that I'll share. So I've always been fascinated with how digital media plays into PR and how how you can leverage that and how you can combine them to make an even bigger impact. And I went down this path of search engine optimization and just and you know, all of the digital components to being visible on the internet. And that was a hard nut to crack. It incorporates a lot of technical aspects, some website building techniques. And there were a number of times where I was truly ready to throw in the towel and just say, you know what, this SEO piece, this web component, maybe it's not for me. Maybe I just don't have it in me. But I stuck with it, and thankfully I have some very supportive colleagues who urged me, and and they had peeked their head down the rabbit hole as well. So together, I feel like, again, we cracked this nut, and we started seeing clients that we were doing SEO services for. We started seeing them rank, and we started seeing how media coverage and those links and that coverage, that all worked together to support visibility. I tend to come at things from the angle of lead generation. So, speaking in terms of, okay, step one is being visible, getting traffic, and then moving that traffic through the funnel into, a lead, and then ultimately to a sale. So yeah, cracking that nut was huge. It was a multi-year process, a lot of hair pulling, but I can sit here now and I can happily tell you, we've seen great success with getting clients to rank on Google. It's I can never guarantee results, but I have a really good understanding of how to navigate that world and that process, and yeah, help clients, again, get the visibility they need to continue to grow.
All right, that's great. So you were ahead of your time, which is fantastic. So that probably laid some good groundwork for the next question, which is, what are you doing for your clients during COVID-19?
Yes. Well, it's funny because one of my messages, even pre-COVID, was about, we're a small agency, we're nimble, we can, adapt as strategies change, or as, the environment or an industry changes. And that was really pushed to the max when COVID started unfolding. And we were just, truthfully and thankfully, we were getting bombarded from clients with different requests, and I mean, simple stuff, emails that needed to go out, social updates, website updates, events that clients were hoping they could still hold, needed to be canceled and shifted to a virtual platform. We also do a lot in the e-commerce space. So keeping communication open with clients, with our clients, letting them know that, okay, orders, might be delayed, or, this shift has happened. Maybe this product is on back order, things like that. Just keeping everyone in the loop, in terms of what's going on, what's unfolding. And it was ever evolving. It still is. I'm still, even we're sitting here at the end of October, and things are always shifting with clients. They're internally brainstorming, and then they bring me in and say, all right, what can we do with this? We didn't get to pursue this event or this campaign. Let's try something else. And, thankfully, we've got a lot of clients who have been with us for many years. So we have a lot of the pieces and assets in place. It's more about, okay, let's, tweak what we need to tweak, and then get the message out. So yeah, never a dull moment.
So, but let me ask you, in terms of getting the message out, so you were always, or it sounds like for a really long time, using, social media channels to get the word out. Is that something that you're finding stands your clients in good stead, as the traditional media have, kind of been forced to deal with COVID?
I think it depends on the client. Truthfully, I've always been a big proponent of A couple things. Like your subscriber list is your biggest marketing asset. That's a direct line of communication with your stakeholders. Social media still is a very valuable tool. So you might have to put a little bit of money behind an update to make sure it gets the impressions and the eyeballs. But yeah, we are absolutely making sure that any sort of update on behalf of a client, the website is updated, an email goes out, a social post goes out, and if it warrants, certainly a news release. I mean, it has been so COVID heavy. I would say definitely social and email have been our primary channels for our clients.
So let's be optimistic that we're going to get out of this. What do you think is going to be the role of public relations as we emerge from COVID-19?
So I have a lot of thoughts, but one that really sticks out, I was actually surprised as COVID was unfolding. I was amazed at how many clients, suddenly had all of these things that they wanted to do that maybe we had talked about, but had just been pushed to the back burner. I was also amazed at how many previous clients kind of came out of the woodwork, more or less. And, we've always, as an agency, we've always put our message out, here are the ways we can help. Here's how we fit into your organization and can support your business objectives. And it was almost as though people had been a little complacent. And then suddenly when COVID hit, at least with my clients, it was like, oh, we Liz, yes, we need you, or we need your agency. Like all of these things you've been telling us to do, we do in fact need to do them. So I feel as though that drive to market and get your message out, I feel that's still very strong. And I think that's going to be present for the next several months, maybe a year. And then I wouldn't be surprised if people, fall back into that complacency and that status quo. So I foresee the need to, again, just consistently remind clients, potential clients, we're here for you. We can support your communication and business objectives. Don't let this slip to the back burner. I don't want to use any sort of fear-based marketing tactics, but just that gentle reminder of, no matter what the economic situation or the pandemic situation, we are here to support you. You're always going to need us, have us be part of your planning and your strategy and your implementation.
Okay, I concur with that. I'll tell you though, while we've been dealing with COVID, which in and of itself has created a lot of need.
Yeah.
There are other things happening in this environment, when you look at the issue, the social injustice questions. And I think a lot of companies and organizations need to, they don't know what's going to be coming up. And I think having PR people at the table, it is something that I think they recognize the importance of.
Yes, absolutely. I'll be honest with you, we did not have any clients reach out in that capacity to help craft any messaging around that. I touched base with several clients, just saying, hey, if you need us, we're here. But yeah, so surprisingly, that did not come up. And that could be our client base. Again, we do a lot of e-commerce. So there's not, you're behind a website, right? You're selling a product behind a website. They don't necessarily see who's fulfilling the orders. So that may have been why. But yes, we're certainly here to share our insight and advice if that comes up. So.
All right. Well, thank you, Liz Hersh, president of Hersh Public Relations in Brecksville, Ohio, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Marty. This was great.
All right. Well, I also want to thank Rich Mellinson at BCTV for helping to edit the show. Rachel Cohn, my daughter, who's also a professor of art at Ball State University in Muncie, Indiana, for her technical assistance in the podcast, and also for Twin Musicom for the music Hat the Jazz that you hear at the beginning and end of the show. Kind of sets the tone. I'm Marty Cohn in Vermont. Stay healthy.